All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tamara. I'm the FCS agent down in Chaves County. And Cheryl and Marissa asked me to do a quick run through on the quilting guidelines for State Fair. So let me see if I can get my slides to change. It's been a fun day. All right. So quilting one, here's the first quilting option that we have, and it happens to be the quick and easy throw. So this one, all of our quilting one quilts do have to follow the pattern within the guidelines. So you'll see on this quilting one, it's made up of 9 strips. The youth can finish it with a fringe finish or an envelope finish. That's something that was changed a couple of years ago based on requests from the agents. And then they can quilt it however they desire, whether that's a stitch in the ditch, if it's a long arm or a freehand quilt, or if they want to tie it. The accessory that goes with this one is that pillowcase. The pattern again has to be followed from the book, and it does have, like you see there in the picture, a cuff, an accent piece, and a body piece. The second quilt in quilting one is going to be our rag throw. They do have a couple of options on whether they do a throw or a quilt. So there's some quick guidelines there on how many blocks that should include. As far as how it's put together, that the rag quilt is the quilt that you see all those raw seams that kind of fray when the quilts are washed. So it can be a 1 block or a 2 block design. You can see there in the picture that there's 2 smaller rectangles that make up the same size block. So they can do a 1 square or 2 block design, up to them. And then the seams are, like I said, all shown, and they're clipped at a 1 inch so that they create this really nice kind of ragged effect when the kids wash it. The accessory that goes with this one is a pillow. So we always get lots of questions because every pillow in quilting one is different. So this one should consist of the 4 ragged blocks on one side with a 1-piece backing and a polyfill for the inside of that pillow. The third year quilting one is this rail fence. Again, they have options of doing a throw or a quilt. And this one changed a couple of years ago. So those individual blocks are made out of 4 rails. So 4 strips of fabric make up that 6.5-inch block. And then they, again, estimated size for a throw and estimated size for a quilt are here on the screen. The kids do have an option of whether they put a border on that to make it slightly larger, depending on the number of blocks that they made. And they can build and quilt that as desired again. So the pillow on this one is the accessory, and it's a little different than the rag one. So you want those 4 of the rail blocks on the front, and the back happens to do a 2-piece envelope similar to the pillow found in sewing 2, and it's got a pillow form on the inside of that one. So the 4th year quilt in the quilting project is this 9-patch throw. And it's characterized by those individual blocks that have 9 separate patches in it, and then a full block that's the 9 inches. So you can see in the picture they alternate. Again, the youth have the option of putting a border on it, binding it, and quilting it as they desire, so that whether it's that they quilt it or send it out to a long arm quilter, they have some options there. The accessory that goes with this one is, again, a pillow. And so again, this one's different. It should have a 9-patch block for the front, just like they did for the quilt, and a 9-patch block for the back with a border. And then that one they can use polyfill on as well, or a pillow form. Either one is good for that one. So that kind of wraps up the quilting one options. We designed quilting two so that the youth had a little bit more variety in what they could enter. So the first option there in quilting two is this half squarish triangle. And again, they can pick whatever pattern that they would like to. So this is one that our counting kids picked last year. And so there's no specific size on what their squares have to be. They just have to exhibit the half square triangle. So again, any size, any pattern that they want to do, they are free to border and bind and quilt as they would like to. So you can see the one in the picture doesn't have a border on it. So we just wanted to give them some leeway and some creative ability within that. The accessory on this one is a quilted bag. That pattern is in the book. and should be followed from the book. So we tried to in quilting two to pick some options for accessories that weren't quilts to show them what else they could do with those skills. So the second one here is the Bargello. So Bargello is characterized by strips that have been sewn together to create some kind of movement within the quilt. So again, they can pick whatever design that they would like to. There is a throw option and a quilt option. For the Bargello quilt, they can also do them out of fat quarters or jelly rolls, so they don't have to be out of full bolted fabric. And gives them a little bit more creativity on that end as well, and teaches them a couple of other skills. So the strips don't have to be any particular width or length. Again, it just depends on what pattern the kids want to have, but they should have this kind of flowy movement of repeated patterns as you kind of see here in the picture. Um, the accessory option of this one is a placemat. Again, they can use any Bargello design, but it does need to be an estimated 15 by 21 for consistency for our judges. The third one within quilting two is paper piecing. So these are those kind of oddball items that has no particular, like you just can't sew them together and go. You have to have some kind of a picture on a piece of paper that gives you a template. So you sew them and then you remove the paper on that part and you sew your next piece, you remove your paper on that part. So they do have a throw or a quilt option on this one. So it could be something like our little gnome here that takes up the whole throw, or it can be lots of different pieces to create a larger landscape design like our mountain here. So again, they have the option of whatever pattern picture things that they want to use to do this, whether it be a large design or a small design. If they have individual um, paper piecings on something similar to like the 9 patch that we saw in quilting one, if they wanted to do individual squares with paper piecing, really wide open to what they want to do. Again, they can border bind and quilt it as they desire. The accessory here is a mug rug or a hot pad, so approximately 8 inches in size, and again, using that paper piecing technique. The other categories we kind of left open for them, so they do have other options of a mixed technique throw or a mixed technique quilt using one or two or three or more designs that have been outlined either in quilting one or quilting two. So if they want to piece together, say a paper piecing with a 9 patch option, mixed technique, right? So they can take that 9 patch block and mix it with a big block of a paper piecing, and they can do that in a throw or a quilt or mix and match however they would like to on that one. If they have anything that does not fit into those categories, then they need to be entered under the self-determined with that self-determined exhibit sheet. And that's really all the options within the quilting curriculum at State Fair.